Welcome back, you filthy exiles. Sorry, got that mic in the right spot. So, I decided to take it upon myself to test Carrion golems out since the apparent nerfs, and quite frankly, this build is not nerfed, and it's ridiculous. And I'll put a boss killing reel after I go through a bit of commentary here. So, how does this work? What is this about? Well, what does this achieve, I should start with. Based on the current tooltip, or the current estimated calculated damage, it's 1.123 million DPS so far that I've managed to push this up without, spending more than 30x, by the way. This is, a build that I've only put together and played. How many hours have I played on this? One day, 24 hours, 25 hours almost. So I've only spent 25 hours of time farming, and in the time that I've been playing, I simply just farmed, T10 Harbinger maps on Canyon, and basically just scrounged together whatever X I could, self-crafted the gear outside of the main jewels, and then just started farming Cyruses to get, supplement my currency gain. So this build is completely doable by any player in the game. And by no means am I the best player of this game, but completely doable, and I'm going to explain how you can do this and how you can get to this tooltip damage and how this mechanic works. So, the basic concept or understanding of the Carrion Golem build is around buffing auras. So it's obviously a low life build and it's a shavs build, so pretty simple stuff, and I'll just go back into the game itself. So you're going to run a 6-link shavs, that's a given. Now, there's a lot of people who'll say, oh, you need a crazy ass helm and all this other shit that, you don't really need. And no, I'm just doing this with a Vertex. And this is what, when this decides to work, a 4 Chaos helm. Boots, 20 Chaos. Shield, 8 Chaos. Gloves, probably not even worth 1 Chaos. These I just crafted whatever. We're talking about the Darkness Enthroned, 3 Chaos, and the jewels I just crafted, from, alking. Sorry, not alking, Alteration Orbing. We're talking about a Cold Iron Point to buff up our level. So the gearing for this build, the only real expensive items here are the Vivisecs, and they're 70 Chaos each. It's not really very expensive at all. So, the actual items for this build are incredibly cheap. Where this gets expensive, and I'll explain it soon because I'm not going to go into the great amount of skill tree on this video. That's going to be a build guide, and I will do a build guide on this build, but I'm just basically explaining why, this is doable and you can do this at any skill level, fundamentally, with this build. The basic concept, as I said at the start, is buffing auras, and because we're running low life and we're running a Prism Guardian, we can stack a whole shitload of auras, which you can see here. Just make sure I've got them all switched on. Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 auras based on the minions, and then we've got buffs coming off of our specters. We've got an Animate Guardian with an ephemeral garb, with a Kingmaker. That's given our minions Fortify. So there's a lot of things going on here and I'll put a video to the Animate Guardian spec up as well in the description. So the big thing that really comes into play here is actually in how you set your cluster jewels up. Now if you go on to poe.ninja or poe.ninja, you'll find in the heat map tree, Carrion Golems are relatively the same tree, and they're this tree, and I'll put this tree in the description. So the big thing about this build is simply just getting the right cluster jewels, and there's 4 medium-sized cluster jewels, which is all you really need, and that's 4 jewels with replenishing presence and first among equals. Now, if you get level 81 medium socket jewels that do aura buffing, buffing to non-curse auras, you could craft these yourselves, and with Harvest in this league now, and in the main game, you can craft them relatively easily. If not, if you want to buy them, they're about 1.3 to 1.8x each, and you can farm that just from doing canyon maps, and it'll take you a couple hours to get 1 jewel each. The other jewel that you'll need 2 identical jewels of will be a 8 or a 9 socket large, or 9 node large jewel, and that's going to have renewal, which is going to give you regeneration and 6% chance to deal double damage, and then vicious bite, and that's it. You're going to have 2 of these. You're basically going to set them up exactly the same, and then Bob's your uncle. You're on your way. Now this is at level 92, and this is doing dumb amounts of damage. I got 8 more points to allocate, and I haven't done shit in my in my you know, Pantheon tree. And you know, there's a lot of other, you know, I don't even have, I think I've got awakened minion damage, which is 40 chaos in this build. So you know, not expensive. Now the anoint that also buffs up auras is charisma, and you take that. It's 2 golden oils. Golden oils are 27 chaos right now in the market, and 1 opalescence, which is like 5 chaos. So from a gearing perspective, this entire build, if you take this 1.5, 1.5 average, 3, 6, these were about 1 exalt each right now, 7, 8, and then gearing as a totality, so 2x, 10, that's 10 all up, and then everything else combined, you know, we're talking that's about 12x there. So we're talking under 15x for this entire build. And that can be farmed just from playing the game. So if you follow this POB, it'll be in the description. You know, this is pretty much how you get Carrion Golems to work. And this is very much a just walk through the game simulator. These Golems are so fucking overpowered, they're ridiculous. I've done the form, done A9 Awakener, they're just ridiculous. And you know, further to people at the start of the league bitching about, oh, nerfs and things like that, and they've ruined Carrion Golems, bullshit. This build is still fucking OP. It's going to be OP until the end of time. And you know what? Are they going to nerf it next league? I don't see how they're going to fucking nerf it. It's just not going to happen. Anyway, I always get the shits about people saying that, you know, the game is nerfed every league. Oh, the patch notes are out. The game's fucked. We can't play any of the... No. I've said this before in past videos, that just because they apply some changes to key mechanics in the game, it doesn't mean that they've nerfed something. It's still powerful. It was probably just really overpowered before, and they've scaled it a bit better. But you can do this entire build in under 15x at this point in the league. It's more expensive at the start of the league given, but right now, you know, you don't need a 50x helm. You don't need a crazy ass set of gloves. You don't need any of that shit that people will go on about in those high tier videos that are built to bloody be like, oh, you know, I'm a god and flex on everyone. No, the everyday player can play this build. The everyday player can play this build from the start of the league. Now, the actual jewels themselves, obviously you're going to need Primordial Eminence. I actually have 2 Eminence jewels in here, one with Corrupted Blood on it, which was 2x, so sorry, that's another 2x on the build. And then you'll take Fortress Covenant, you know, Primordial Harmony. You're also going to grab a Energy from Within, which is dirt cheap, and I could get a better one, but I'm not going to do that because there's no point. And you'll need an Anima Stone, and that's pretty much it. And I think there's a Primordial Might somewhere in here too. I think that's a Primordial Might. So your Golems are aggressive. All of these, you know, actually, sorry, about 20x, give or take. Some of these are cheaper. These are only 8 chaos. This one's 2 because of the Corrupted Blood on it. So I'm immune. I have Corrupted Blood immunity. Anyway, if you follow this tree exactly the way that it's set out here, you will get exactly the same result that I've got with this build. And as opposed to what I normally do in my videos, I'm going to give you a B-roll of it killing Guardians, Shaper, and also doing the formed at the end of this video. I did die once in the form because I was stupid, but it pretty much did it effortlessly. This is doing all T16 maps. I've done 60 to 80% Delirious maps. You can pretty much just sit in one spot in Simulacrum. You know, the only thing Golem builds can't do is Delve. And it runs into some issues with Legion encounters as well, because it's just not very good for Legion. You're better off running Cyclone or actual melee skills and things like that for running Legion encounters. But yeah, that's pretty much the build. Now, I'm going to do a build guide on this. This is more or less just breaking down the mechanics and showing you that you can do it. It is affordable, it is doable. the everyday player can do it. I work a full-time job and I made it work. So if I can make it work, anyone can make it work. But anyway, check out the POB and check out the B-roll at the end of this video. It'll be a few minutes worth. And then yeah, I'll have a build guide up in the next week for this one to explain this a little bit better like I usually do. But at this point I'm pretty happy with this. You know, I might even get this character to level 100. I've never gotten a character to level 100, but I might do it this league. Anyway, onto the B-roll.